You're listening to the Armchair Ninja podcast. Here is your host, Rich.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja podcast. It is Thursday, March 31st, 2016. My name is Rich, and with me this Easter week is Bijan. How you making out?
Doing great, man. Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter to you. You have a big Easter egg hunt, and
My Easter... Nah, man, my Easter was sitting on my butt at Malcolm X Library out here in San Diego, just relaxing and chilling, man. I had to work during Easter. Sad me.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but I don't have any kids or anything, so as long as parents in the library system were able to enjoy it, that's what matters.
Well, that's very nice of you. I always appreciated when we always traded off around the office, so the single people would get or the people without kids, I should say, would get New Year's off, and we would take Christmas, so it was kind of that trade-off.
Yes. Dude, every year, I better have New Year's off. That's all I gotta say. If you want me to work during New Year's, you're in for a bad time. Because I'm still drinking that night before. That's all I gotta say, man. How was your Easter?
Good. We got the eggs hid and everything, and the kids are getting older, most of them, but they still want to hunt for Easter eggs, so we do that whole thing, and then I just went back to bed this year. I was up too late hiding them and everything, so I just went and crashed. Yeah.
I feel you, but hey, as long as they had fun, and it's never too late to have fun on Easter,
Yeah. So looking to this week and what we've got to talk about, we are going to kind of give just a State of the Union, I guess, on the Ninja Warrior world. We'll talk about the calls and things that are going on right now. Some changes we've heard about for the course. Some updates from Hollywood, I guess. We've got a few things about TV and movies that I guess that are kind of somewhat related to Ninja Warrior.
That slow motion walking, or running, I should say, in Baywatch.
Yeah. And then we've got the Ultimate Ninja Athlete Association and our video of the week. So we got a few things to go over. It sounded like a lot of topics, but I think it'll be a relatively quick one for us this week.
Yeah. Keep it short and brief. All fun times.
Yeah. So first things first. So the courses are being run. We had Atlanta that completed. We're getting all kinds of stuff from the production company. They've gotten all the calls out for LA. So we've seen a lot of posts, people excited being picked for the show. And this is the first year I've really got to experience the disappointment of not being picked, as seeing everybody's, that must really suck. You don't really get an appreciation for that normally, people that work all year and then not getting picked.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be rough, especially if you're training and it's like it's a big goal for you and you don't get picked. I really feel for those people. I understand from the producer's side why it's really tough also, because this year I have to imagine they have the highest turnout for applications they've ever had, and they're still trying to meet the certain number points or certain quotas for athletes running the course. So it's got to be really tough. I'm more curious to see how many walk-ons they allow this year, because you have to imagine they're not going to be able to get to too many.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively fixed number. I'm not sure what the actual number is, but they're going to be posting the LA walk-on info sometime this week. By the time you hear this, they may have actually posted it. But they're also looking for course testers, so anyone that wanted to be a course tester if you weren't picked. But an important note is you can't test in one city and then run the course as a competitor in a later city. So if you do go as a tester, you can't go as a walk-on somewhere else later. So you can email ninjachallengeproducer@gmail.com and post the city you'd like to test in as the subject line. And they're currently focused on LA, but they will be looking for people for Indy, Oklahoma City, Philly, and Vegas.
Yeah, so like if you're in one specific region and you can't necessarily travel to another region, you didn't get picked, at least this is a good shot of experiencing the course, experiencing the real obstacles. And you have to imagine it's a good way of meeting and getting to know more of the producer side of the show, where you might have better chance of getting picked next year. So I would go for it. Definitely, if you've been training, what is there to lose?
Yeah, and you might get picked for Team Ninja Warrior. That's what led Brian Arnold to pick Jennifer Tavernier, who ended up on the winning team for Team Ninja Warrior. So it's definitely a good foot in the door. Yeah,
great idea, or great observation, I should say, man. Yeah, go for it. Especially if you've been training, there's no reason not to.
Okay, and speaking of the course, we had some information come out that the warped wall is now 6 inches higher. We knew they were going to make it more difficult. I do not like this change at all, because to me, I feel like it unfairly punishes the shorter competitors in something that they can't really... They can train for it. I mean, there is can throw a lot of technique at it, but I just feel like it's already so difficult for the shorter competitors, which generally affects a lot of the women on the course, and I just think it's not the best way to actually ramp up the difficulty.
Yeah, I view both sides of it, so I'm kind of in the middle in terms of my opinion of it. I definitely understand the side of, if you're shorter, my God, that is 6 inches, and it's strange, because if any other type of obstacle or anything, 6 inches isn't a make or break, really. But if anybody actually watches the show, like a lot of the shorter competitors, they're getting their fingertips on the top of that warped wall. It is really incredibly difficult. And making 6 inches, you might as well just add like 4 feet, to the difficulty. It's so extreme. But at the same time, I definitely understand why they're doing it. They want to ramp up the course completely and just add a whole new level of difficulty that perhaps not this season it's going to really affect a lot of people, but over time more people might adapt to the new height and train harder for it, and maybe it'll become less of an issue. Because we did talk about leading into last season that the warped wall no longer was such a daunted obstacle, that it was an obstacle that a lot of people were able to figure out, train for, and do. There are some workarounds. Sasuke, what they did is, rather than having a build-up where you can really run up and build up your speed, it was more of a U-shaped ramp where you really had no opportunity to get a good stride going. You had to kind of just drop down and then run full sprint up it. It was still the same height, but they kind of cut off the whole run-up where you can build, the speed, or build your momentum, I should say, up to getting up the warped wall. And that might be another route that perhaps if there's a lot of negativity this season, maybe they can go that route next season.
Yeah, that's possible. We have seen, especially the ones that stand out to me, I guess, are Megan Martin and Jessie Graff, who we know can do the warped wall, struggle with that shorter run-up in Vegas. So we know it can, the run-up's important for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that might be a good, fair, I guess, compromise. But ultimately, we'll see how people adapt to the height change this season. For me, it's really difficult to have an opinion coming up to it because, I just don't know how much it's going to affect people. Because we have seen some ridiculously short people where it's like, how can they ever do something like the warped wall? And yet they do it, man. A lot of it has to do with technique. But at the same time, that's 6 inches on the warped wall. And the warped wall is already, 14 feet? Now it's 14 and a half feet. That's huge. That is really, that's asking a lot.
Yeah, especially if you stand in front of it, you really get an appreciation for how high that is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because on the television show, I'd be like, oh, I could do that. Why not? Like, whatever, and you stand under the real thing. You're like, oh my God, how the hell could anybody do this?
Yeah, I literally went up to the people in charge of it and were like, that's not a regulation warped wall, right? Like, that's an actual... That's way higher, right?
Oh, yeah. Like at the local gym I went to, you actually have to sign off on a waiver saying that they're not responsible for you if you injure yourself on this. Because you can very easily injure yourself training on the warped wall.
All right. So moving on to our Hollywood edition here. We've got some pictures that came out a bit ago of Zac Efron and The Rock on the beach filming Baywatch, which a movie coming out in 2017. and it included some ninja obstacles. They had monkey pegs, they had a salmon ladder. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that's going to be part of the new course. It's got to be, because these obstacles I've never seen before. I've seen like versions of these obstacles, but I've never seen these particular obstacles. And it didn't look like a ham-fisted attempt at making some crappy obstacle. It looked pretty legit. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be maybe just part of the LA qualifiers. I definitely could see that happening, or maybe they're just testing a bunch of different obstacles and seeing what works, because these were taken about I forget, I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago, so maybe it's part of the final course, maybe it was a preliminary course, but man, it looked fun. And holy crap, dude, Zac Efron and The Rock, like, I know they're ripped, but like, that's ridiculous, the level of like body physique they have.
Oh yeah, it's a whole new level, like just unbelievable, because these guys are already in phenomenal shape, but when they have roles like this, of course, they're going to go that extra mile, and it's just crazy what they can do.
It's insane. Like, what was it? The Rock's like carrying like 2 fridges on his shoulders and crap. Like, I'm like, how is this guy? Like, how does he do it? I remember hearing about like this thing where the Rock like eats like a ridiculous amount of fish every day and stuff. So it's like, it must go through protein like nobody's business.
Oh yeah, you'd have to. Like, to maintain that size, I would think you'd have to.
Yeah, The Rock is like a walking tank, man. Zac Efron, he's got just, I don't know, those abs and everything. Man, I think it sounds like I have a man crush on Zac Efron now I think about it. Jeez, I need to find something about myself. I found out something about myself today, man.
Yeah, I think I do. After Neighbors, I have to say, he really, I became a fan after Neighbors. He was really good in that.
Yeah, that movie was funny, dude. Yeah, I'm really interested in this movie that they're making. It looks really fun. Was it Baywatch, right?
Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I did, and the women that are going to be on that movie, let's just say thumbs up.
Oh my god,
I'll keep it
realized
there.
That's going to be on the big screen, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be good times. That can be a glorious, just colossal failure, but amazing in every aspect of it,
One thing that was funny is watching Zac Efron doing the salmon ladder, which I know he could do it. I mean, the guy's amazingly ripped, but there's no way, like, he's on some kind of little platform. He's just kind of moving the pace. It's way too smooth the way he's moving up that thing.
Well, I request a zoom out, We need video evidence that, he actually did the damn thing.
Yeah, we've seen so many people do them at this point. There's no way. It's too. It's a
little too clean, right?
Yeah, it defies gravity the way it just kind of floats up from one to the next.
Yeah, good point. There usually is a give, in gravity. There is something called gravity that doesn't seem to be apparent in that video.
Yeah, but then again, really, they're filming. It's probably in close up and everything. They're trying to do 100 things at once, so you can't have them like struggling and stuff. He's got to look good as he's doing it. So, but we see it.
But
go ahead.
Sorry, but what's curious is, at least for The Rock, he was in his Baywatch gear while doing it. So I'm curious if maybe this is going to be part of the movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was actually filming, right? I think they were working it into the movie somehow, that as they're waiting for someone to start drowning, they're doing salmon ladders, I guess, to just practice.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how much American Ninja Warrior is booming this year, right? Like, just think back like 3 years from now, behind when Casey Catanzaro didn't happen, Jeff Britton and Isaac didn't happen. Like, Ninja Warrior was this fringe, awesome, like, diehard sport that everybody that was a fan of it loved, but for the broader audiences, it was like this cute thing that happened right after America's Got Talent. Now it's like this giant phenomenon that, like, it's almost its own sport. It's really cool to see just see it grow to this amount, and especially internationally. Oh my god, didn't they Vietnam is having a Ninja Warrior competition now and stuff, right?
Yeah, they're having some foreign competitors. I'm not even going to pretend to know all the details of it, but there's definitely some activity going on there.
Hey, that's so cool. Like, the more it expands, the better.
Yeah, for sure. It's grown from being the serious version of Wipeout into a legitimate sport, I think.
Ugh. Wipeout. Don't even say that name. Disgusting. Ugh.
I'm telling you, like, I loved Wipeout. I absolutely loved that show. I'm not even going to apologize. I thought it was the funniest thing. I just loved watching it. And you know what ruined Wipeout for me? Is American Ninja Warrior. I started watching the show. And now I began hating Wipeout. I'm like, that's not even a fair obstacle. What is this? This is baloney. Like, these guys, yeah, they just totally ruined the show for me.
See, for me, I think the problem was that I watched Ninja Warrior on G4 before Wipeout, so I just saw it as a complete ripoff for it. But even more so, if anybody remembers or hasn't seen this, they definitely should look it up. It's a show called MXC. And it is the funniest damn show I've ever seen in my life. And from what I understand, that was initially first. And it kind of inspired the precedent for Sasuke, which then turned into a Ninja Warrior, American Ninja Warrior. So definitely check it out, because in America on Spike, they kind of dubbed it and made it its own thing. And it's really, really funny.
Yeah, I watched some MXC. I couldn't get into that as much. I preferred the Ninja Warrior I preferred Wipeout for whatever reason.
Yeah, Wipeout's really family friendly. I'd imagine it's really fun to watch, with maybe your daughters and everything. So trust me, I understand all the components of it. Sounds fun, but MXC.
Yeah. Once you see how obstacle courses are supposed to be run, Wipeout loses its appeal pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's a little hard to go from Ninja Warrior back to Wipeout when it's like, oh, come on.
Okay, so going beyond that, so the other Hollywood update we have is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have a new series called The Runner.
Who saw this coming? Oh my God.
Yeah, well, actually, we should have seen it coming. I just saw a thing that said that they actually were looking at doing it about 16 years ago, like pre 9/11.
Wow.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that? They had sold, and it's only now coming in. It would basically, they had the way that it's going to work is going to be, it would have too many security concerns, and that's actually 9/11 kind of postponed it in a way. And then it's been trying to work with Mark Burnett from like Survivor fame and stuff to get that all straightened out, and now it looks like they're casting for it. It's going to be, to me, it reminds me of Scotland Yard. It's like a board game where people were pursuing a suspect across this distance. I don't see how it's going to work practically, but it's interesting.
So go over the format for people that don't know it.
Okay, so here's the description they've got on the website and for the applications. The Runner is the most epic cross-country chase ever filmed, and we are casting nationwide for this exciting new competition show now. A new competition show with more than $1 million on the line and one simple challenge: find the runner. Somewhere in the United States, a mysterious runner will be racing toward an undisclosed city. That runner will be hunted by competing teams of chasers. It's up to the runner to use strategy and determination to avoid the chasers and make it to the target city. The task of the chasers is to find the runner before time runs out or another group of chasers beats them to it. So here's the big question. Are you a runner or a chaser? So you can apply to be a runner or a chaser. And it's funny because reading that off, it almost sounds complicated. It actually sounds a little bit like Quidditch with chasers and beaters and yeah.
It's kind of like Catch Me If You Can, or Tag, many aspects. I'm curious, are they, they have to have something like maybe GPS chips of like the chasers can like maybe get like beeps if they get close or something, because otherwise, it's like, hey, find this guy in this state. Like, how are you going to do that?
Clues or something. Like, how does that even make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. So, from this description, I would very much be a runner, because it's like, I'll just run straight to the city and I'll be good. But there's got to be some stuff.
Yeah, that's what makes me think of Scotland Yard. So I don't know if you've never played it. You've got this big city map of London, and you've got everybody else is trying to catch this one person, Mr. X or something like that, and they would only pop up on the board like every fifth turn. So you would see, oh, they're there, right? And you would all converge on that spot. and then would pop up. They would manage to find a way to get away from you, like get to a larger, like a way to travel a long distance in one shot. So they would get on to a metro or whatever and get away from that spot, and you would slowly close in on them. And I think it's probably, like you said, you'll get a clue that, oh my God, they were in Tulsa yesterday. So everybody would kind of move towards Tulsa. Well, maybe they got a flight from Tulsa to somewhere, but you look at the flights that came out of there, so they could be, they could be in this city or that city by tomorrow if they were at the airport, but maybe they got a bus somewhere, and then you've got to kind of converge.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. I mean, ultimately, it sounds like a really fun premise, as long as they give enough, like, different things or challenges for the runners and the chasers to do, right? It can't just be about the chasers trying to catch up to the runner, because that'll be a little boring. And this is a reality show. So I'm very curious to see what obstacles or challenges perhaps like the runner has to do every episode. They have to do something kind of like Amazing Race, and it gives the chasers a chance to like kind of catch up, or chasers maybe do this obstacle. Not an obstacle like American Ninja Warrior, but an obstacle more like Amazing Race, where it's a challenge. Perhaps to get a clue of where the runner is currently at the point. There's many ways that can go about doing this, and I'm really interested to see closer to the release of this show what format they're going to be doing with the to have the chasers catch up to the runner, because that's going to be the pivotal point of the show, and how well it's kind of perceived. I do want to say it's going to be on Verizon's video platform. It's called Go90. So anybody interested, it'll be part of that, and it is free. So, yeah, go for it, man.
Nice. I don't even know what Go90 is. Do you know what that is? Like, can you describe that?
I've seen it. I don't know a lot about it, but it's kind of from everything I've seen, it's an app, and I'm sure there's other ways of getting it. I'm pretty sure it's like you can get on Roku and everything. It sounds kind of like Verizon's version of Hulu or Netflix or was it Amazon Video? It sounds like that, and it's free and ad supported. So for my general view of it, it's like the free version of Hulu or Crunchyroll, where you can watch shows and movies and stuff like that, and you just watch like a 30 to 60 second ad before you watch the show. And I'm pretty sure they intersperse like one or two commercials between each episode as well.
Cool. Available on compatible devices in U.S. only. That sounds familiar. That sounds like it's going to be a Team Ninja Warrior thing all over again.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm in America, where I don't have to deal with that. Sorry, man.
That's all right. We learned to live with it.
Hey, I tried watching Canadian Amazing Race, and let's just say I come with your issues as well. I'm like, why can't I watch this?
We go... Moving on. We've got the UNAA, what is it called again? The Ultimate Ninja Athlete Association. So this is the other league. For those that don't know, there is another like national league, kind of like the National Ninja League, but it's huge, right? It's got a crazy amount of gyms involved, much longer season, but not the best updates. I think, to be fair, we don't have the videos every week to kind of cover the way we did with the National Ninja League, so. There's not much for us to talk about. We could kind of announce the winners from week to week, but there's just so many.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, there's no video footage or anything, so there's not really anything to talk about other than names, which this is a audio podcast. There's not much to say about it, but, I do appreciate the fact that it is very broad and expanded, so I'm glad at least it sounds like almost every ninja league in the country is represented between the two leagues, between National Ninja League and the UNAA. So at least that's really cool, man. It's interesting to see what it's going to be like closer to the regionals. You said that's coming up soon, right?
Yeah, so they've had let's give you an idea of the size of it. They've had 32 area qualifiers so far, from what I can tell, with 6 left. And then they move on to the regionals. So, and this is the competitions that Bijan and I have gone to go see. So he went to see it at MROC, and I went to see it at the Main Warrior Gym back in the fall. And they'll be going back to both of those gyms for the regionals. So Main Warrior Gym will be having the regionals on May 28th and 29th, and MROC will have theirs on April 17th. So that's actually coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, it sounds fun, man. Not just that, the regional finals, that's the part where I'm going to be more interested in, because you're going to see a more diverse astute of athletes, so to say. And I'm curious to see just what type of athletes come out on top for the regional qualifiers heading into the finals, because I don't know, it might because National Ninja League was, for the most part, compounded mostly in the eastern states, eastern part gyms of America. I'm curious to see if the UNAA, which represents a little bit more of the western states in America, what kind of athletes come out of there, because they really didn't get a chance to compete in the finals of NNL, I guess you could say, National Ninja League. So, for in my opinion, we might have an opportunity to see a completely different set of top quality upcoming Ninja Warriors.
Yeah, that's true. It is so widespread. You could get some of the really unknowns from just about anywhere with this. There are some familiar names. You'll see, if you look through who's placed in the different gyms, you'll see, Joe Moravsky's in there. Some of the top ninjas from, some of the female ninjas like Jerry DeRilio.
Jesse
Graff's in there. There are definitely some top names that are in there, and some of the ones from the National Ninja League. So there's a lot of crossover, and we'll see how it all washes out in the end. I don't know that I'm going... It's weird. It almost works out perfectly, but not so perfectly. So the Philly qualifiers, which I intend to be at, will be on the nights of May 26th and 27th, leading into the weekend of May 28th and 29th in Maine. So I'll be driving back through there, but I'll be pretty anxious to get home probably. I'm not sure. We'll probably stop in, but I don't know how much we'll get to see of it.
Yeah, that's going to be a long weekend for you, man.
Yeah, it's about... I think it's a 13-hour drive. So,
oh boy,
yeah, with the main gym being about 5 hours away. So, I don't know that we'll be stopping. Probably will. We'll probably stop in, but I can't see us staying.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you for whatever decision you make, man. LA is already a long drive for me, and that's what, an hour away.
An hour away. You lightweight. I can't believe you're going to complain about an hour drive.
I'm spoiled. What can I say? Most San Diegans were spoiled about LA. We're like, oh, that's such a drive. That hour, oh, terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think twice. I mean, I barely have to think twice about driving the 13 hours. I just got to figure out the logistics of it.
Yeah, I feel you.
So moving on from there, we've got the video of the week, which we haven't really, I realized as I've been doing the last couple episodes, not really announcing. We've had videos of the week, where we had Yoshi and other ones, but we haven't been actually calling it that. So our video of the week this week is another submission video. This one is from the Brazzy Bros, they did pretty well last year. So it was Lucas and Alexio Gomez. They definitely got a lot of attention on the show, I guess, more than anything. There was a lot of flag waving. They had the Brazilian flag. Very excitable fans, very entertaining to watch, and their submission video for this year stands out for the same reason. I found them really funny and engaging.
Yeah. They kind of got that PewDiePie Markiplier kind of vibe to them, where they're very excited, very interface, type of I guess energy, right?
Yeah, a lot of energy, very impressive video, some good physical demonstration of their skills, and they just competed in Atlanta again, so they did make it on the show. So we'll see how they did when that comes.
Interesting, man. Yeah, for anybody that sees it, I mean, they've got some incredible athletic talents. I mean, they are physical specimens in terms of like doing different obstacles. They're really, really talented. So I'm definitely glad they're back, and I'm really interested to see what they can do.
Yeah, I like their choice of music too. The Backstreet Boys is not a normal thing to pick, and it stood out.
Yes, be creative. Love it.
So one thing I wanted to kind of bring up before we wrap up the show, that's pretty much all of our major topics, is I'm looking for something for us to kind of do with you guys. So whether it be like a Twitch stream or maybe a game or anything like that. And I haven't even mentioned it to Bijan until now. So anything like that you can think of that you'd like to participate in, I think it would be kind of cool to get together and see what we come up with.
Yeah, Armchair Ninja meetup.
Yeah, some kind of meetup, I guess. So if you have ideas, definitely feel free to send them to us. I'd love to hear your suggestions. You can reach us on Twitter. That's at Ninja Podcast. You can email us. That's rich@ninjapodcast.com. And we are on Facebook as well. So thank you all for listening. And
Climbing holds.
What's that?
Climbing holds. I always got to remind you.
Atomic climbing holds. Yes. So if you're looking for climbing holds, come by our website. That's ninjapodcast.com. Click on the link for atomic climbing holds. Get your affordable, dependable, stupendous atomic climbing holds. Use our discount code of podcast and you can save yourself 10%. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace.
A special thanks to Kathleen Martin for the song Player v Player Remastered from bandcamp.com.
Thank you all for listening and have a lovely day.